Coming up on tonight's broadcast, the fate of impeached ASOSU President Hapoi, a spike in tuition costs, a potential ceasefire in Gaza, and your weather update. All that and more right here on Beaver News.
Good evening. Welcome to your Wednesday night edition of Beaver News. I'm Anthony Brost.
And I'm Courtney Cossette. Last night, the Memorial Union Lounge hosted the impeachment trial of Tanguy Hapoi, and after a very long and drawn-out trial, the jury found Hapoi guilty of the impeachment charges brought against her by the House of Representatives. She has now been sentenced to a formal censure for a dereliction of her presidential duties by pulling out of the Oregon Student Association without consulting the Senate. The majority of the Senate, which made up the jury, agreed that there was a definite violation of the statutes by the president, and if they did not find her guilty, they felt they would be sending the wrong message. Hapoi's disappointment with the trial was apparent, and she said, quote, "It was just disorganized. The whole thing was a huge embarrassment for the Oregon State University community." The prosecutor, Drew Hatlin, Speaker of the ASOSU House of Representatives, explained that the House's sentencing recommendation for a censure or a proverbial slap on the wrist for Hapoi to express distaste with her actions was in light of her obvious admitted guilt, but lack of malicious intent. He clarified that the House of Representatives was at no time seeking her removal from office.
Oregon State University is attempting to go greener than ever before in the coming years. As reported by James Shreve of the Barometer, OSU will be joining 32 other universities this week in the so-called Green Challenge, an effort to raise $1 billion in order to upgrade sustainable energy sources. Already, $65 million have been raised collectively. Brandon Trellstad, OSU's University Sustainability Coordinator, said that OSU's contribution will be increased to over $1 million in the next 4 years. OSU already heavily contributes to making the Earth a green-friendly environment. Last year marketed the completion of the $55 million Energy Center, which is the first platinum-rated power facility in the nation. Additionally, OSU has been designated as a campus sustainability leader by the Sustainability Endowments Institute, who is also sponsoring the Green Challenge. Trellstad's goal is to make the campus climate neutral by 2025, and he said, quote, "The Green Challenge is a step in the right direction. The university can accomplish these goals with the support of other institutions and mainly with the support of our student body that has already done so much."
As the Cascade campus of Oregon State University continues to grow, an agreement made this week on a building sale pushed Oregon State Cascades along even further. Bend business leader and resident Alan Bruckner made a large contribution of $800,000 to OSU Cascades to help the institution finalize its purchase of the building that will house many graduate and research programs, hopefully by spring of this year. The building is located in Bend with a full purchase price of $3.8 million. The rapidly growing campus had an enrollment this fall of approximately 750 junior, senior, and graduate students, an increase of 10%. Bruckner has been a resident of Bend since 1970 and is the current president of Cayuga Properties. He also served as a Bend City Commissioner in 1988 and was elected mayor in 1992. In a recent interview, Bruckner said, quote, "Almost everyone agrees that the number one priority for a strong community is an educated populace. Bend has a fine public school system, a well-established and outstanding community college, and an emerging university that deserves and needs greater support."
In case you missed it, months of collaboration between the OSU Symphony LaSalle Stewart Center and the OSU Theater Department came together on Sunday to present a wonderful Harry Potter-themed event. The event, Halloween with Harry Potter, was a nonprofit event dedicated to the books that defined a generation. With help from local businesses, the production involved a Diagon Alley-themed fair, followed by a concert symphony based on the original works of John Williams, composer of the soundtrack for the movies. As reported by the Daily Barometer's Amanda Antel, the event was organized by Aaron Sneller, head of the Publicity and Events Coordinator for OSU Music Department, who said that the evening was created purely for the fun of it and that it was designed to unite a community under the common love for Harry Potter. Music was provided by the OSU Orchestra, whose professors were skeptical about the project at first, but after listening to the soundtrack, they were convinced. Aaron Sneller explained, quote, "The orchestra prefers the classical music repertoire, but after the success of Chris Brody and hearing that the Harry Potter soundtrack, the orchestra professors were all for it," end quote. The event even had a place for the drama department, who helped set off the event with character work designed to set the mood for the event.
As we have watched the protests of Occupy Wall Street develop around the country, earlier this week the protest spread its way to Oregon State University campus. Monday afternoon, the MU Quad was filled with OSU demonstrators showing their support for protests occupying different cities around the nation. The protesters' infamous slogan, "We are the 99%, referring to the difference in wealth from the wealthiest 1% to the rest of the population, was displayed on signs and chanted by students and Corvallis residents. Protesters were unable to use megaphones, however, because a permit was required to check them out. But if the cold weather and rain doesn't stop these protesters, lack of an audible device surely won't either. Cuffing their hands around their mouths in order to project their voices, protesters demonstrated their fight against corporate greed, economic inequality, and corruption and influence within government. These protests stretch across America and are now present in 70 major cities and over 600 communities, with some even crossing international borders, while other protests have evolved mimicking Occupy Wall Street in over 900 cities worldwide. We now take you to a brand new segment with reporter Brittany Greenfield titled Questions in the Quad.
Eat lunch in between classes. How about that?
I tend to gravitate towards Monroe.
What's your name?
Hi, Mom. I'm Vince.
Vince. Where is your favorite place on campus to eat lunch in between classes? Other than pie, of course, which you've got all over you.
Hi. I'd have to say Chipotle. Is that on campus? Does that count on campus?
Yeah, that counts. It's on Monroe.
I mean, amazing burritos. That's all I got to say about it.
And what's your favorite weekend activity?
Weekend activity? Probably the football games. I mean, you can't beat them. Well, everyone beats us, but like football games are fun.
What's your name?
I'm Matt Makarowski.
And tell us what you guys are doing here today.
Today we're here in the MU Quad putting on our yearly week-long philanthropy. It's called the Greek Olympics. This year, the charity we've selected is the Fender Music Foundation. What they do is they help fund music in schools throughout the nation. And this is one of our many events we got going on. It's Pi Theta Chi. We've done many other things such as a scavenger hunt yesterday. We have Fright Night tomorrow, which is a concert with Mac Miller, Casey Veggies, and People in the Stairs. All proceeds go in the concert. And on Saturday we have a Greek Olympic little competition.
Our very own Max from Beaver News decided to get in on the action himself. How did it feel, Max?
It felt great. This guy got really pied.
Pulverized.
Indeed. Well, at least it's for a good cause, right?
This has been Brittany with the Beaver News and Questions on the Quad. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Brittany. I can't wait to see what you've got cooked up for us next week. A trail of debris from the devastating tsunami that hit Japan in March of 2011 is gradually making its way across the Pacific Ocean en route to the west coast of the United States. Oregon State University is reporting that the massive debris, weighing millions of tons and forming a trail 1,000 miles long, will likely strike Oregon and Washington. According to the models of wind and currents, scientists are predicting it will arrive in the next 2 to 3 years. Documented accounts of where the trail has progressed suggest that the least some of the debris may strip off and enter the infamous garbage patch, a huge gyre in the Pacific where plastic and other debris has accumulated throughout the years. Jack Barth, an Oregon State University oceanographer and expert on Pacific Ocean currents and winds, said, quote, "Recent reports of the debris are from farther south than the axis of the main ocean currents sweeping across the North Pacific towards Oregon. This means that a fair amount of debris may enter the patch. We should still see some of the effects in Oregon and Washington, but between some of the material sinking and others joining the garbage patch, it might not be as bad as originally thought."
One of the top stories sweeping the nation this week is the multi-million-dollar fairy tale wedding that took place in late August, resulting in a marriage of only 72 days. Kim Kardashian filed for divorce from NBA player Kris Humphries on Monday before jetting off to Australia to launch her Kardashian Collection purse line at a party in Sydney. CNN is reporting that in an online confession, Kardashian addressed the public's reaction, saying that she did in fact marry for love and is appalled that she would even have to defend that. Kardashian, age 36, and Humphries, age 26, were married on August 20th in an extravagant wedding which was featured on a television special hosted by E! Blogs and social media posts have called for a boycott of shows featuring Kardashian and her family. Others who are outraged by this short marriage question why the rights of gay marriages are denied when heterosexual marriages like this one are diminishing the meaning and seriousness of marriage. The day after Kardashian's announcement of divorce, her mother, Kris Jenner, appeared on the Today Show confirming that her daughter did in fact marry for love, and it saddens them all to see it end this way.
The hugely popular Netflix is hurting this week due to a massive stock drop over the past month. Netflix, the massive DVD by mail and internet media streamer, has recently split its combined price of $8.99 for unlimited movies and TV shows per month into two separate packages. That means that customers will now have to either cough up an additional $8.99 to maintain both packages or be forced to choose. This price change caused Netflix to lose nearly 800,000 subscribers in this quarter alone, which in turn caused a 52% price drop in stocks for the company. As reported by CNN, Netflix has decided to raise prices because of increased costs of content licensing, and the price hike is necessary to keep up with demands. However, Netflix has said that the raise in price is part of their preparation to jump to an international market, starting with Europe. As of now, Netflix currently functions in the United States, Latin America, and Canada. Now the question remains, how much would you pay for unlimited movies and TV shows on demand? We're taking a quick break, but when we come back, more of your national stories. Stay tuned.
Pants. I am folding the pants. The pants are long. Do they go on my head? Do they? Do the pants go on my head? No. They go on.
Everyday moments can become teaching moments because learning starts long before school does. Give your child the start they need at bornlearning.org.
So you can't save money? That's easy as pie. Brown bagging lunch instead of going out. $6 save times 5 days a week times 10 years is $21,000. That's a lot of lettuce. Small changes today, big bucks tomorrow. Feedthepig.org.
Hair loss. Now this rash on my face, what's going on?
For answers, ask your doctor the right question.
Could I have lupus?
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad today.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. Sometimes my parents have to take me to the hospital. I feel like a fish with no water.
You know how to react to their asthma attacks. Here's how to prevent them. Call 1-866-NO-ATTACKS. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor. Because even one attack is one too many.
Welcome back to the Beaver News live on Channel 26. We have seen the rapid growth of Facebook in recent years, and as the website continues to consume a large amount of Americans' daily lives, studies have found that many users are underage. CNN reports that despite rules prohibiting children under the age of 13 to join this social networking site, many underage users are making accounts, and with help from their parents. In fact, some Facebook users are as young as 8 years old. A study was conducted based on a survey of a little over 1,000 parents who had kids between ages 10 and 14 living with them. The authors of the study argue that the age restrictions, which are inspired by the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, are largely ignored by kids and their parents and are encouraging dishonesty. According to the study, the vast majority, a stunning 95% of the parents of the 10-year-olds on Facebook said they were aware their child signed up for the site, and 78% of those parents had helped create their child's account. The question of what age is appropriate for kids to join social networking sites has been debated by privacy advocates and parental groups for years. Facebook founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg says that he does think it's okay for children under the age of 13 to access and partake in the use of his site because interacting online is an important part of today's educational process.
Just because you've gotten into college doesn't mean you can stop paying attention to how much it costs. A new report is showing a sudden 8.6% spike in tuition costs on average for public universities across the nation. On top of that, private school system tuitions jumped 4.3%, and community college flared an 8.7% increase. CNN is reporting that the sharpest increase went to California State University San Marcos, whose tuition climbed a staggering 31%. According to collegedata.com, the most expensive public college in the nation with a tuition cost of $15,320 is the University of New Hampshire, who experienced an 11.5% tuition increase. The study also showed that over the past year, at least 52% of students attending four-year public colleges received a substantial scholarship or grant and did not end up having to pay full price for college tuition. Sandy Baum, economist and author of the College Board's report, said, quote, "College is more expensive this year than last and is probably going to get more expensive next year."
Last week, we reported on the story of Occupy Wall Street protesters who were tear gassed by police officials in Oakland, California. Today, the city of Oakland geared up for another demonstration involving a citywide strike, reports CNN. Tim Simmons, the organizer of the operation, says the move is a warning shot to the 1%. The 1% referring to the nation's wealthiest, whom demonstrators say hold inordinate sway over the remaining 99% of the population. Simmons also told CNN that today's protest is intended to give the people various ways to make their voices heard, adding that they encourage all students to walk out of school and adults to walk out of their workplace and join others in downtown Oakland to shut down the city. After striking, the demonstrators, who are supported by local unions, say they plan to converge this evening on Oakland's port, one of the country's largest and the city's most visible symbol of commerce. Various Occupy groups in other cities will also hold solidarity actions to coincide with Oakland's strike.
A damaging snowstorm in the east has utility companies working overtime. CNN is reporting that more than 1 million people are without power. New Jersey resident Becky Fisher was forced to move her family into a neighbor's home after they lost power outside. Temperatures dropped to near freezing. Early this morning, there were still 178,000 without power in New Jersey, a staggering 573,000 in Connecticut, and 228,000 in Massachusetts. Thousands more have also lost power in New Hampshire, Maryland, Virginia, and West Virginia. President Obama signed an emergency declaration for New Hampshire and Connecticut, clearing the way for federal aid to supplement state and local response efforts. So far, 15 deaths have been attributed to the storm. Now we have local weather.
Okay, you're still on.
Hey there, Beaver Nation. I'm Max Newfield here with your Wednesday forecast. As you can see, it's going to be rainy and cold this week. I got some rain tomorrow with a high of 51, low of 33. The next day, Friday, we get some sun, so there's just right there for your start of your weekend, high of 51 and low of 40. Saturday, as you can see, it's come back with the rain. High of 44 and a low of 41, so you're going to want to really bundle up then. Sunday, we get some more rain with a high of 50 and a low of 40, a little bit hotter. And then Monday, finally, the sun comes out a little bit more with a high of 53 and a low of 41, so that's some good respite. So that's your forecast for today, and back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Max. Lindsay Lohan still has not made her way out of the news, and CNN is reporting that after admitting she violated her probation on a necklace theft conviction, a Los Angeles County judge ordered her to serve 30 days in jail starting next week. Lohan has to report to jail by November 9th to serve her 30 days, and after that, the actress must work at least 12 days a month at the county morgue until she completes the 53 remaining days from her community service that she violated. Judge Stephanie Sautner also told her that she must attend 18 psychotherapy sessions, and if she misses any of those goals, she will return to jail for another 270 days. Sautner had sentenced Lohan to 120 days in jail last May, but she ended up serving 35 days of home confinement instead due to jail overcrowding and state rules that give prisoners credit for good behavior. Since her last court hearing, Lohan canceled 14 of 19 scheduled appointments for court-ordered psychotherapy, missed 12 out of 20 scheduled workdays at a downtown Los Angeles women's center, resulting in a move to the city morgue, where she again failed to complete all of her hours. If the actress stays on track, her probation would be eased on March 29, 2012, Sautner said. But if she doesn't keep up with the requirements, she will serve the additional 270 days behind bars. It's now time for our final break of the evening, but we will have your remaining stories right here, and you won't want to miss it.
Horseradish. Is that for horses? Remember me, Mr. Lobster? From last Tuesday? Banana. 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 Here comes the rain. We need a hat. And why do we need a hat? They jot. That's right.
When you talk with your child, you build vocabulary, and learning starts long before school does. For more tips, go to bornlearning.org.
Welcome back to the Beaver News. Is Justin Bieber a father? According to a 20-year-old woman, a 3-month-old child has been... CNN reports that a young woman, a California resident, is demanding that a teen superstar take a paternity test to scientifically confirm that he's the dad. The woman, remaining anonymous, claims to have slept with the underage Bieber when she was 19. She is asking the court to help her secure child support. Bieber's legal team is denying all claims, saying, quote, "While we haven't yet seen the lawsuit, it's sad that someone would fabricate malicious, defamatory, and demonstrably false claims that we will vigorously pursue all available legal remedies to defend and protect Justin against these allegations."
Contractors in Florida were in for quite the surprise when they came across an over 15-foot-long Burmese python that had swallowed a 72-pound deer. They found the female python while spraying exotic vegetation on an island about 20 miles from the Everglades National Park in South Florida. CNN reports that while state and federal wildlife scientists are impressed by the size of the python and her prey, it also raises concern about this non-native species and the ability to control it. Randy Smith, spokesperson for the South Florida Water Management District, explained to CNN that this large exotic animal is not naturally from this area and could cause potential havoc on the natural Florida wildlife. Following protocol, the contractors were forced to kill the python with a single shot to the head. Smith said that they have seen these pythons on a regular basis and have dispatched hundreds of them in recent years. Management and park officials have tried trapping, but that has largely failed. Scientists and park managers are studying the exotic reptiles' breeding habits and pinpointing their locations to devise a strategy for controlling them.
As the war between Israel and Palestine continues, news has arrived this weekend about the possibility of a ceasefire. The Palestinian group, called Islamic Jihad, has asked Egypt to broker a ceasefire agreement with Israel after a deadly clash. As reported by CNN, the group promises to, quote, prevent every attempt to shoot at Israel, end quote. On Saturday, 10 people, including Islamic Jihad commanders and 7 militants, were killed when Israeli forces attacked a training camp in Rafah, Gaza. The attack was a response to a rocket attack from that area earlier that day. On Sunday, Palestinian rockets from Gaza continued to strike Israel, killing several civilians and thus prompting Israel to retaliate with an airstrike. In the wake of the airstrike, Israeli forces found and destroyed several suspected terror tunnels and terror activity sites. Hours after the attack, Islamic Jihad announced a ceasefire, which Israel did not immediately confirm.
Last week, we reported on the large number of officers being fired in the state of Veracruz, Mexico, after failing a reliability test. And now crime seems to be increasing with the lack of police officials on the street. CNN reports that 8 bodies were found in a remote area of the coastal state of Veracruz on Tuesday. An anonymous tip led investigators to the scene that took place near a river in a popular tourist attraction spot in Boca del Rio. Violence has surged in the Gulf Coast state of Veracruz in recent months, which is the 3rd most populous state in Mexico, with more than 7 million residents. More than 43,000 people have been killed in drug-related violence in Mexico since President Felipe Calderón began a crackdown on cartels in December 2006, according to the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. Well, that's all the news we have for you tonight, but be sure to tune in tomorrow evening for more local and national and international news right here on KBVR.